Hi, this is RGK, and today I will talk about two first-person shooters that could fit in the retro category, as well as in the curiosity category. The first one is Paratopic. The graphics look like they are from the PS1 era, and the first 3D games after Quake. The character is made of a few blocky polygons and a low-res picture pasted on their face. The muddy textures and lots of grain from that era gave a very creepy look to horror games, and it's very fitting since Paratopic is one of those. But beware, it's not a shooter or survival game, it's a walking simulator. And the game is very short, I finished it in half an hour, so I'll try not to spoil too much. We play as someone smuggling VHS tapes that seem to have a strange effect on people, a bit in the vein of Lynch or Cronenberg. The main aspect of this game is its murky atmosphere, a distortion of reality that makes you uneasy. The narration is told through vignettes. At some point you are talking to someone and then you find yourself somewhere else, later or earlier in the story, a bit like what 30 Flights of Loving was doing. I dig the idea, but the problem is that the most interesting parts are at the start and at the end, and the whole middle section is laborious with long car drives and long hikes in the woods where nothing happens and I was constantly pressing the sprint button to feel like I was not crawling. And just when it started to be interesting, bam, the end, thank you, goodbye. I would have loved to see a similar game, but a bit more dynamic, because the graphics, the atmosphere, the sound and visual effects all were very well done. But since the game is so short, while sometimes dragging a bit, I find it to be a curiosity that will please a few people, but I can't recommend it to everyone. Same for the next game, it's more geared towards people who enjoy games like Postal. With Sharpshooter3D we revisit the GZ Doom engine with sprites made out of horrendous low-res pictures. On a technical standpoint, it's not a success. I expected more stability from this engine, usually running much better. Here I was often sent back to desktop, sometimes the games would start in black and white, and my key configuration was never saved. At least the length is better than the previous game, it took me a bit less than 3 hours to exit this Russian nightmare. And I must admit that it's so over the top that I had fun. You can fight with all sorts of melee weapons, from a shard of glass to a chainsaw. And it's wonderfully gore, with torrents of blood hemorrhaging from a sliced neck, burning cops with Molotov cocktails, and hippies gassed with glyphosate. I did not really understand the story. At first I thought I was among a troop of hooligans battling against another gang, but then it escalates into riots and the streets are bloodied and on fire. For such an old engine, I was impressed by the scenes under my eyes. The reason why something looking so awful works is also because the fights, despite not being easy, are actually very fast and nervous. Something that bothered me a little is that the most powerful weapons, such as the shotgun or the chainsaw, are only found towards the end of some levels, and that the single weapon that you can hold in your hands is not kept when loading a new level. And I insist on one single weapon, because you cannot hold more of them, and on top of that some weapons break or get stuck inside your enemies. For a game called Sharpshooter, it's lacking range weapons, we often have to fall back on melee weapons. But it works, and the level design is not bad. And we can quickly find stuff to keep our joyful massacre going, or milk for health, or ventilation shafts for a sneaky and peaceful approach. I'm kidding, the game asks you to kill, kill, kill. Besides the gore, the game is not politically correct on many levels. There are punk tags, but also skinhead tags, and I even came across a group tagging a Svatiska on a wall, or a group mugging someone black. But at least you can kill all those people, so I won't comment on the politics of this, it's a slippery slope. Globally, we have a gory outlet that almost looks as low effort than all the Wolfenstein 3D clones released weekly on Steam, but this one is surprisingly not bad, and I got immersed in its atmospheric juggling between dirty urban areas and citywide riots, whereas at first glance the game had everything to put me off. In the end, it's a bit like a Russian blood or Russian redneck rampage, just that it lacks diversity. Not a must-have, but a curiosity for those enjoying retro shooters. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone, only to those who are willing to enter this historical edgelord dimension. And if you are not afraid to lose your eyesight, I had to take breaks to protect my eyes. I hope you enjoyed this video, bye!